First crowd here.
All right, Kim, I'm so glad that you were there. Hopefully I'll get to talk to you again before the night is over. I want to bring in our panel again, including Nellifer, who is now here with us. Nellifer, I want to read you something. This is from Donald Trump this Sunday in Leesburg, Virginia. This will be Brexit times 50.
Brexit plus. It's going to be a Brexit
Huge.
On speed, Brexit Armageddon. I don't know. It's late, Alicia, so I'm barely with it.
You don't even know which time zone you're on. I mean, give us a sense. I mean, this is clearly not the result that a lot of people were expecting. This is an experience that you have lived through in a very similar way. At what point does it start becoming real?
Not for a little while. What's going to happen tomorrow when people go out on the streets and they start voxing everyday folks who are on their way to work tomorrow morning? What you're going to hear is a lot of people saying, this was a protest vote. I didn't think it was going to happen. I just voted for Trump because I wanted everyone to know that I'm not happy with things as they are. This was me doing a protest. And that's exactly what happened in Britain after we had, you know, a seismic shift happen in the politics and the body politics of Britain as a nation. And that's exactly what's happened in America at the moment. So tomorrow morning, when you're out on the street and you're talking to your colleagues and you're talking to your friends, the fact that it's this close, the fact that he might be the next president, people are going to just be saying exactly that. Well, I only voted for Trump because I wanted everyone to know that I was upset about the way things are. And that's the problem. The other thing that I really want to make clear to everyone on this panel, but also everyone at home, is you're going to start feeling very isolated very quickly, and the world is going to react against you. The world hasn't woken up yet. It's about 6 o'clock in London, so a lot of my former colleagues are on their way to work. I've been getting texts saying, you know, in the nicest way possible, what on earth has happened in America?
Thanks for keeping it PG.
Thank you. Try my best. So you're going to find that you're very isolated. People are going to react to you differently. America's going to have a very different stance on the world stage. And all of these things are going to happen in quick succession. You're not going to realize what this means in terms of its wider context on a macro scale for a few weeks to come.
Do you think that's true even if Hillary Clinton were to pull out a victory tonight, even just the fact that he got this close?
Alicia, to be frank, American politics has changed tonight. The two silos within which the Republican and the democratic parties put themselves in, the things that they think they stand for are no longer true. The voters have made sure of that. And what I'm trying to understand and unpack is whether this vote has changed the people or the people has changed politics. And I feel like it's a dialectic, like both are happening at the same time. Whatever happens after tonight, I think America's going to have to treat its politics and its people very differently.
Rashad?
I think that makes a lot of sense. I do want to push back a little bit on this idea of feeling isolated because, unlike Europe, Americans are much more provincial. You know, we don't have the same type of travel habits from country to country, speaking multiple languages, having access to passports. And so sort of this, like, Americans are going to feel isolated. We don't see ourselves as international in the same way that, you know, traveling through Europe. Yes.
But I think, guys, I actually want to break in because we have some news. The AP is calling the state of Pennsylvania for Donald Trump with its 20 electoral votes. That puts the total electoral count for Donald Trump at 264. For Clinton at 215. Mark, that is still shy of that 270 number, but is this basically over?
Yes.
In a word?
Yeah, in a word, yes. Losing Pennsylvania, we've talked about it. We talked about it at the board multiple times. That would be probably the deciding blow. And if he lost that, Donald Trump is winning in Wisconsin. He's winning in Arizona. Either of those states would put him over the top.
And I want to add to just this conversation we were talking about before the announcement. Americans are provincial. We don't know what it's like to be isolated yet, but we're going to find out. We're going to find out really quick because this isn't just going to be economic. This is going to be military. Remember, in the UK, the conservative prime minister, well, the previous one and the current one, they were thinking about not letting Donald Trump into the country because they thought he fomented hate speech. Do you know how many different nations across this place don't really like us anyway? And this will be a perfect opportunity. We will see businesses leaving this country. We will see investment. We will see the immigration that comes to the United States from India, from South America, from Canada, from Asia, that helps us innovate, that helps us advance culturally and economically. Those people are not going to come here anymore.
But I think that the bigger thing here is that we have to be very careful post this election, because I completely agree. I think everything as we know it in terms of what our democracy is or is not now, what our politics is or is not, we have to be very careful about the narrative that comes out of this. This, I don't believe, is a referendum on anything. It's a referendum on the fact that people are not happy, period. They're not happy with either party. You know, so Republicans are going to, and we've already kind of done it here where it's like, oh, well, Donald Trump stands for conservatism and all these other things. The fact of the matter is that you have so much crossover vote out there. You have so much going on in terms of, the kind of the voter schizophrenia that's out there that this is not a referendum on anything other than people are tired of the status quo and what politics has turned into in this country.
No, I have to disagree. People showed up to make America great again. And he said it over, he said it over and over again. He gave speech after speech. He occupied television time. There was not a person that did not know what Donald Trump stood for. And he was such a good communicator. In fact, in some ways, like people talked about him getting off script. No, he never got into details. He stayed right at the level that he needed to stay at. And I just disagree because I think that like we should, when people tell you who they are and people tell you what they want to do, you should listen. And like we should be listening right now to the fact that like people are sending not a message about just that they're against everything. They are for something, and they are actually making sending a clear message.
Lucy, and then I want to bring in Nelifer.